advantages of buying a business over starting one.
Yeah.
And there's a few interesting things that you talked about. I wonder if you could give us a bit of a breakdown of some of the...
Yeah, I mean, the great thing about buying a business is that you're buying existing business. You're buying something that's already got a proven record. You've got a proven brand. It's had success. Or you're looking at something and you're going, I know it hasn't had success. I can get it at a decent price, and I know how to transform it into a successful business. But you're buying something that exists. Whereas starting a business from scratch, you're taking a huge amount of risk. It may be hugely successful, but there are a lot of businesses, new startups, that fail along the way.
And you mentioned that there are some things like the marketing systems that kind of come into place, and you've already got the brand and the demand as well. But even small things you might not think about, like transferring a lease being easier than starting a new one.
Yes, I mean, it is. I mean, you're transferring something, and if you do it cleverly, its existence of the fact that there's no real transfer of business at all. I often say to buyers, call it a merger. Call it not an acquisition. Don't call it an acquisition, because you want people to think this is just new people coming in, and the buyer, the current existing owner, is phasing themselves out. So make it seem like it's continuous. That's the important thing.
And you also touched on due diligence. I guess for people, if you gave a good kind of crash course of the essential bits for due diligence, and I think if there are people in the audience who are buying a business for the first time, they probably aren't very familiar with that.
No, I mean, the trouble is, a lot of the things by buying a business, selling a business, are similar to buying and selling a house. But the one thing that is fundamentally different is due diligence. And due diligence is basically do all your homework between your offer and completion. Ask every question possible. Your solicitor will do the same. Ask your accountant questions so that you know what to ask. Don't be afraid to ask silly questions. As I said in the presentation, nothing is a silly question. If it matters to you, it matters. But use the term due diligence is a bit of a silly term, but use that period of time between your offer being accepted and the completion of the sale purchase as a time to make sure you've got peace of mind.
I think people probably feel a bit overwhelmed by that process sometimes because it's a lot of bits of admin. Is there any kind of advice that you could give people to help them break it down?
To be honest, if you're buying a business, always use a solicitor. Solicitor will have done this hundreds of times. Make sure it's a commercial solicitor, but they will have done it hundreds of times. They'll do the documentation. They'll know the questions to ask. You will need an accountant if you've never had a business before. Put accountant in place before you complete the sale. So you've got somebody you can ask financial questions to and say, is this normal to have this cost in there? And it may not be, or it may be just a standard cost, but it's unusual to you. Have experts in place. It's money well spent. Don't spend unnecessarily, but do take advice from people who know what they're talking about.
Definitely. And just as a final question, you also touched on valuation. What do you think people get wrong about valuation? And also, why is it so important?
Trouble is, people selling businesses, especially if they don't sell through a broker, often get valuations that are hugely overstating the value of their business. And the trouble is, they then get that ingrained into their brain that my business is worth 10 times as much as it should be worth. You need to get, as a buyer, get an independent valuation done so you can at least get peace of mind. The valuation that you know it should be is a fair valuation. The valuation that is on the market is a fair valuation. And always try and get it at the lowest possible price and use deferred payments to buy that business.
Robert, thanks for your insights.
Thank you very much indeed. Absolutely. Thank you.